make a commitment. At least I'd say at least 3 days a week. If you really want to do it, I'd say 5 days a week. If you really are like gung ho about it, and try out all the different platforms, because you might get discouraged on Instagram, you might get discouraged on Facebook, but definitely try out like Periscope or Twitch, where there's special platforms specifically designed for live streaming, specifically designed for people looking for live streams too. Your audience, is looking for,
Yep.
audience there is looking for a live stream to watch.
What's going on? Welcome to the New Music Business Podcast. I'm your host, Ari Herstand, author of How to Make It in the New Music Business, the book. Today, my guest is Clare Means. She's a Los Angeles-based singer-songwriter. She got her start on the street performing on the Santa Monica Promenade and Pier, and now she is known for her success on the live streaming platforms, specifically Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube Live. She's actually one of the most watched musicians on Periscope, and she, since quarantine started and the live music industry kind of shut down and forced her off the street, she went all in on live streaming. And so she talks all about her journey live streaming, how she built up to be the most successful live streamer on Periscope, and then what it's been looking like the last few months as she has started live streaming on all the other platforms, and how she's grown so quickly on Twitch and everything else. She breaks them down, how you can actually make money. I mean, she makes her full living live streaming right now, exclusively live streaming. I've been so intrigued by her journey live streaming, which is why I asked her to become an instructor for Ari's Take Academy and actually teach a course on live streaming for musicians. Head over to aristakeacademy.com to find more information about that. But this conversation, I think you're really going to enjoy. It's honestly one of my favorite conversations I've had on the show. Not just because I got to catch up with my old friend Claire, but because it was just really cool to see her enthusiasm for live streaming and kind of this other world that exists out there on the internet. As always, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Ari Herstand. Open your Instagram app right now and give me a follow. We can stay in touch that way. I respond best to the DMs on Instagram, FYI. Also, you can follow the show and everything we do, the full crew and team. It takes a lot of people to put this show together, as well as everything we do at Ari's Take. You can find us all at Ari's Take on Instagram and Twitter. Head over to aristake.com. Sign up on the email list. You want to be on that email list. If you're not on that email list, get on that email list. Pull out your phone right now. However you're listening to this, head over to aristake.com. Sign up on the email list if you're not on the email list. This is where we send out all the information about the new music business, everything we're learning. You're going to want to be on that list. All right, let's kick it to the show. Clare Means, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ari.
Yeah. Where are you right now in the world?
I am in Los Angeles. Right now.
Okay, cool. We are both in Los Angeles, but because of the state of the world, we are still recording these virtually. You're in your place, I'm in my place. Cool. That is a really cool setting that you have set up right now. For those who are just listening, you can check it out on YouTube and see. But you got cool lights, you got tapestries, you got a expensive looking microphone there. That's nice. Is this like a work in progress, or have you been like setting this kind of space up for a little while?
Yeah, I've been setting this space up basically over the past kind of year, I guess, getting all the gear and the nice setting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've been live streaming for much longer than that, but just kind of up my game this year. Quarantine allows for a lot of thought and time.
I guess, that is something with quarantine. It has given a lot of people, given everyone kind of some time to maybe put things that were on the back burner and bring them to the front burner. And really like all the things that were like, you know what, I should do that someday. Just give us a little kick to like, well, I got nothing else to do, so I might as well do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I mean, you have made your name as a very successful musician, live streamer, and I want to get into all of that in a little bit, and we'll talk about live streaming and just like how you're making it work in kind of this COVID era, and just like all the new technologies and just like what's out there and what's working and what's not working and all the stuff, because gosh, if you were to add up all your live streaming hours, how many hours would you say you've live streamed just like on any platform, like ever?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I mean, I don't know. I've probably averaged like 20 hours a week for almost 5 years.
Okay, so we'll
Maybe,
do the
I
math
don't know. That's
later.
just, I don't know if it's that much, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
No,
hours.
that's okay. So
Some have been
52
less, some have been
weeks
more. Yeah.
times 5, 10, 20, 250 week. All right, I'm not gonna do the math right now, but that's
Yeah.
a lot of hours. That's thousands and thousands of hours. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, yeah, I bet you've reached your 10,000 hours, as
I
Malcolm
think I
Gladwell
probably have
says.
about,
Right.
yeah.
Cool. All right, so we'll get into that. But so we met in the Los Angeles singer-songwriter scene. I don't actually remember how. Do you remember how we met? I don't remember how we met.
I No, I
Okay.
don't remember. I
I'm like,
heard your
wait.
name a bunch, I think, before I met you, because I saw like
Okay.
blogs and stuff like that. I think I don't remember how I first met you actually.
Okay.
At all.
That makes me feel good that you've been hearing my name, so my reputation
Yeah.
preceded me. All right,
Yeah, I think I
sweet.
just met you at a gig or something. You so
Yeah,
maybe Monday, I
at the
don't
Hotel Cafe.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably that.
Yeah.
It's funny because so I used to be in an acoustic trio with these two singer-songwriters, Will Hutchinson and Jesse McLeod,
Yeah.
and we used to perform on the Santa Monica Promenade. But before we did that, Will saw you play on the either on I think it was on the pier. He saw you on the Santa Monica Pier, and he wrote a song. It's so cute. I don't know.
I
I think
know. Yes,
you
it
know
is
this,
so
right?
sweet. Yes,
Yeah,
it
he
is
wrote a
so
song
sweet. Yeah.
about you.
Yeah.
For everybody, it wasn't like a pining love song. It was just like a really sweet. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was in love with you at the time. I don't know. But it was a very sweet, like, painting this picture of this singer-songwriter out on the pier saying "Welcome to
Yeah.
LA" to everybody, and it was like a really sweet, beautiful song. And I think he's released it. I don't actually remember. But yeah, so like your reputation preceded you as well, because Will kind of wrote this song. I'm like, well, what's this about? He's like, oh yeah, there's this singer-songwriter. She plays the pier. I'm like, oh, cool. Okay. So
Yeah.
tell a little bit of that story of like how you because you started as a street performer.
Yeah.
Not even started, like you were basically performing on the street up until the pandemic hit, up until like lockdown, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, I was performing on the Santa Monica Promenade and on the pier,
Mm-hmm.
about 5 days a week or so. And yeah, and I, was been doing that for about 10 years or so. And so then,
Wow.
starting 2015,
Mm-hmm.
that's when someone was like they were broadcasting me on Periscope, a guy that
Uh-huh.
had come out to see me a few times. Um, and that he was like, "Oh, yeah, I was on the pier." Yeah. He's like, "They're sending you hearts on Periscope." And so I asked him about Periscope. And then that's
Mm.
kind of the next day I was like, that night I downloaded Periscope and I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to live stream these like these busking sessions, street performance sessions."
Oh, so
Wow.
what did you so you hadn't heard of, I guess that was
I
pretty
had
new.
heard
Periscope,
of
I think,
Periscope.
launched in 2015,
Yeah.
right? Or
This was
yeah, okay.
I think my first scope was either September 1st of 2015 or like
Hmm.
August 31st
Is
or
that the slang? Is that what the kids call it? Scope? Like when
yeah,
you do
that's right. Yeah, sorry. Scope.
Scope, cool. All right, dope. So, okay, so that's what got you into live streaming was Periscope initially,
Mhm.
and because because back in the, I mean, man, live stream. I think Periscope was one of the first live streaming on a big way platforms to launch. I know that you now the Livestream app, I think, launched prior to Periscope, but it wasn't super popular. And then Periscope, because Twitter owns it, when that launched, that kind of blew up a bit. And so how were you using it initially? Were you just using it on the pier when you were busking, just like setting your phone up, or how did that work?
Yeah, I first just started up, like, just doing it on my phone,
Uh-huh.
every time I'd go street performing, and I would just set the phone, behind my tip jar
Mm.
and, just press go live and do it that way. And yeah, then eventually I started doing some broadcasts from home as well. But yeah,
Okay.
initially it was just like live streaming all my street performances and busking.
So how was that
Yeah.
feeling when you were like playing on the street to people walking by
Yeah.
and they were kind of standing there listening to you and maybe, giving you some tips in your jar or something like that. And then you also had this audience on the phone. Were you able to interact with the Periscope audience at the same time?
Yeah. So I would kind of, do some of my songs. I had it at a distance. So it was behind the
Okay.
tip jar kind of, so they kind of see the whole setting, and it was, the whole setting of like the pier behind me, which is, or, the
Okay.
ocean and then, so I would kind of just like come in and check in on them, like, when it
Mm.
got to be slow or if I had a break. So I
Hmm.
would play some songs, come check in them, like, how are you guys doing? Share this out if you can.
Oh,
How's
cool.
it going? You know,
Hmm.
Ron and Cindy and, I mean, just kind
Mm.
of give them shout outs when I can, and checking
Did
in.
you let did the people on the street think that you were talking to yourself, or that you were having some mental challenges at the moment when
Yeah.
you're like screaming at your tip jar? Hi,
Yeah.
Ron. Ron. Hey, thank you, Ron. And they're like, "Whoa, this girl has lost it." They're like, "Yep, welcome to LA. This is what happens." I can just imagine seeing you go scream at your tip jar.
No, I think that happened a few times, like, because I did hide it, like, and I hid the phone, also
Yeah.
because you don't like, take your phone while you're playing.
Right.
But so I kind of did hide it behind the tip jar, and I would like crouch down and talk. And yeah, it looks like I'm talking to the tip jar. So sometimes when people give me a nasty looks, I'm like, I'm talking to the money. Sometimes that encourages it to grow,
That's amazing.
But
Yes. Yes. Talk to your money.
yeah.
That's right. Encourage it. Right. I love that. Yeah, give me some like what crazy stories do you have, experiences from the street, from performing on the street? Give me some stories.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Well, oh man. Well, I have this one song, Voodoo Doll, that this one lady who's not all together that sometimes comes out to the fear.
Mhm.
Whenever I play it, she like freaks out. She says that I stole her voice or something. Anyway, so she got up in my face and stuff, and and it was kind of like,
Right.
don't sing that song ever again. And
Oh
she's just got this like
gosh.
very intense look, and she's like, you stole my voice. And
Oh
like
my
I'm like,
god.
what? It was just really weird. Yeah, I don't know if I don't. So
That's
that's
terrifying.
yeah.
What
I had another lady also that got up in my space, and I can't remember. Yeah, she knocked over my tip jar, my CDs, and like
Ah,
so these guys tried to protect me, but they didn't want to like push her or anything. She was an
yeah.
older lady actually. She got up in the phone like on Periscope. I wish I had a screenshot of it. And like it's like I don't know. So yeah. Then
Yikes.
I had a guy like dissect the song of mine called Fiery One, and he just started calling me all sorts of profanities. Like I don't even know. He was just yelling profanity after profanity. I called the police, and he just kept
Mm.
yelling. It took him, a little while to get
Oof.
there. Then I've been robbed a few times. Yeah. So I don't know.
What do you mean you've been robbed? How does that happen?
Well, one time yeah, this is the stupidity of when someone's in your live stream, you have to remember
Sure.
if you're in public, like,
Right.
you have to remember being aware of your surroundings because you can get kind of wrapped up in the stream. So I saw
Sure.
some sea lions in the ocean and I was like, oh guys, look at the sea lions. I turn around to like show them on my phone, the sea lions.
Oh god.
And then someone took my tip jar, just whoop, and it was a crowded day. So I have no idea,
Ah,
it was like, they just got lost in a sea of people. So,
yeah.
but then it was really nice because people in Periscope, they like stepped up and, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been robbed. And I had just started, so I'd barely making any
Yeah.
tips. And
Yeah.
they actually like gave me like way more in tips than I had lost. So
Oh
that was nice.
wow.
But it just goes to show you like kindness outweighs,
Yeah.
but there's definitely a lot of characters and in Santa Monica yeah, when you're street performing, you definitely meet a lot of characters and oh,
Mhm.
that I also chased down another guy who stole money and um out of the thing. I saw him steal it and I chased him down and I was like, because I had some people watch my stuff and I was like, can you give me my money back? But he was crazy and but I just know that when, lots of guys, they'll go to rob one person, they get away with it. They'll rob all of us street performers. So you have to like
Oh
stop it or just keep
man.
going on. I was
Yeah.
like, can I have my money back? And he was like, I don't have your money. And I was like, what? And I realized it was in his mouth.
Oh man. I'm not yeah, it's like, you know what? Never mind. You can keep it. Oh, gross. So what'd you do? Did you get it back?
I told him, yes, because I know it's terrible. I was like, okay, I'm like, he's like, see my pockets, there's nothing. I'm like, spit it out. I can see it's in your mouth. And so then I got someone at the cart nearby gave me some like, I can't remember some napkins or something. And I just, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know why. I should have just let him keep it. But, I was just like, at that point, I was just, I don't know. I just wanted to know him. He can't get away with it because he would just keep,
Right.
sometimes people that rob one of us will keep robbing all, so just got to set an example. So I'm like, also, but the funny thing is like, I had such an adrenaline rush, like, because I confronted him. I was like, it's in your mouth. I said, do you know how dirty money is? Like, put money in your mouth.
You went all mom on him.
I did. Yeah.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
spit that out. And then I had to find napkins to pick it up. So yeah, there's been lots of, but
Wow.
mostly wonderful people. I've met so many
Sure.
wonderful people, and some of the craziness is wonderful and inspiring too, and some of it's scary.
So tell me some wonderful stories now. That was like stuff that's happened.
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. Now I'm like thinking, well, just like all the people you meet out there, the fellow street performers are awesome. Some regulars that will come out and watch on a regular basis.
How often would you go out and street perform?
Like 5 days a week on average, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where you don't like daytime or nighttime or both?
Mostly I do nighttime, but sometimes I do daytime. Yeah.
5 nights a week. Okay. So this is like a full-time job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely been some wonderful people, that I've met out there. Actually, there's a guy named John who's helped me. He's seen more of my performances than anyone else, probably.
Oh, wow.
Other than some of the people on Periscope that probably have. But John's been hanging out watching my street performances since before I even started live streaming. But anyway, yeah, he's super nice. He's a homeless guy I met out there, but he's like, let me watch your stuff. He helps me move my stuff when I have to move it. And just like, he's just super kind and always like looking out for me. And I try to look out for him too, so yeah, that's one thing I just keep thinking about, like, how is he doing in COVID, because I haven't seen him now for 6 months, like,
Yeah.
how long this has been. But anyway, so yeah, he's like one of the super inspiring and kind people I've met there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, man, it's just like all sorts of people because you put yourself out there literally on the street. You don't know who's going to walk by. And I mean, I guess it's Santa Monica. So you're dealing with a combination of tourists from all over the world, local residents, whether they are housed or unhoused. And yeah, all different types. And, especially in LA and on the beach, there's a significant homeless population here too. And a lot of them have, deal with mental illness. So man, it's like, I'm sure it probably toughens you up a little bit, but also kind of teaches you, how to, interact with people or just even like how to engage. Cause I guess you're that's like so challenging. I mean, we did I performed on the promenade for 4 months and just for the 4 months, like we learned a lot. But it was like a big thing of just like, how do you get people to stop walking by and like give you a couple seconds of your time? What were some like things that you learned of just like some tips that you learned from street performing to just like get people to listen to you?
I guess, yeah, I think it really like, it affected my songwriting, or I guess, and like encouraged kind of mixing it up some. Cause I feel like when I first started songwriting, I still write a lot of ballads, like slower songs. But yeah, when I started street performing, I think I learned that like some of my faster songs would kind of get people to stop, so I guess I kind of learned like how to get a crowd to stop by a certain song. And then you like hook them in by the like slow ballad, or something. And you also kind of gauge, if you got some teenagers, definitely start with the faster song. If you have a romantic couple, maybe a love song or like something, or, a solo person, maybe a sad ballad. They're looking down, maybe something they can relate to, like, yeah. So just like, and also I think sometimes when kind of, sometimes people, you like it too if you just tell a little snippet of a song about what the song's about before you play it,
A little story.
Yeah, a little story to kind of hook them in,
Nice.
And yeah, so it definitely taught me, and kind of the amount of eye contact with the viewer with that like is good and not too much, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so, man, it's such a skill because, I remember being on the street and it's kind of, as people are walking by, there's like this kind of this pull to try to get them to stop and listen by any means necessary, even if it like takes you out, like takes you off brand or takes you off of like what's, feels natural or intentional, or it's just like, I don't know, I'd be like coming up with dumb songs about a dinosaur on a guy's shirt and like
Yeah.
saying, whatever, just like to get them to stop. But then
Oh
they
yeah.
stop and then they start listening. And it's like, but did I even want this guy to stop and listen anyways? I don't know. But sometimes they do, and they give me, a dollar. I'm like, all right, well, I guess that was worth it. And it's just like it's a weird thing because, right, if you kind of change, it's like this fine line of not changing who you are inherently as an artist, staying true to like who you are, but also having to cater to that medium of
Yeah,
performance style,
totally.
because like
Yep.
every performance medium, whether it's in a club, a small club, whether it's on the street, whether it's on a live stream through a computer, whether it's in an arena, you have to alter your performance slightly to cater to the medium.
Yeah.
And it's like, what have you learned by like performing on the street? Like, how do you kind of, I mean, you said you kind of wrote more upbeat songs, which were still, I mean, do you still connect to those songs?
Oh yeah. I mean, still
Okay.
like probably 80% of my songs are slow or ballads,
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I just kind of learned like when to pull them out, kind of, and
Sure.
especially like if I get a big
Right.
crowd, I might do two of them in a row, and then do the ballad, instead of,
Mm.
but yeah. And I have done a couple of kids music albums too. So
Oh,
sometimes it's really fun to like, I'll get like I'll get like a little kid stopping by and then I'll do like the feeling silly song,
cute.
and then we'll get
Sweet.
a crowd and then I'll pull out this is a sad one about my dad passing away or, like the contrast, like
Hmm.
sometimes actually it does work. Well, obviously if there's like a lot of kids, you don't want to play a really sad song, but
Right.
it's kind of nice to like have, one that feels one emotion and then throw them another emotion really quickly. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all like kind of cool, I mean, live streaming and street performing, is like, you can just test out so much stuff and,
Hmm.
some of it's going to work and some of it's not. And you just kind of
Hmm.
got to like, take it as it
It's
comes.
it's like comedians testing out material in front of a live audience. Is like the only way that you're going to get better at that style of performance is by doing it in front of a crowd. And I mean, I guess that the street, it's in a sense very low pressure. You
Yeah.
test things out and you'll figure out very quickly if they flop or not. People just keep walking or they stop and listen like, yeah, and then they keep
Yeah.
going or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's probably a lot of these things you've learned inherently from performing on the street so much. So you've been now live streaming for over 5 years. What would you say you've kind of carried over to live streaming from the street? Like, what about performing on the street would you say has made you a better live streamer, or just kind of giving you some tools to effectively live stream?
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, performing on the street is kind of similar in that, well, when you're performing in a gig, right, you have a captive audience. Like if you're performing a regular club gig, you have a captive
Sure.
audience. With street performing and with live streaming, you kind of have this audience that's, even on live stream, it's like kind of walking by, like they could click on another live stream, if they want. And so you just want to, unlike a club where they're kind of, they have to be there. Basically, they signed
They
up,
paid they
paid,
paid a
they
ticket.
paid,
Yeah,
so
they're in the room.
they're
Right,
gonna sit
right,
through it unless it's like terrible. Of course, they're gonna
right.
sit through it, but like, yeah, unless it's absolutely terrible. Even when we go to the movies, if it's terrible, we usually sit through the whole thing because we paid for it.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah, but with these free shows that are just, they haven't committed like that. So yeah,
Mm,
you really gotta. I guess I did learn from street performing. Yeah, just how to try to hook them in. Also, I think kind of. Um, I think that also different from the stage is that with street performing and live streaming, I think sometimes the audience, rather than having that feeling like where the artist is on a stage
mhm.
and they're below, they is a when you're in the street, it's kind of like you're in the same level as these people,
Mm,
and so I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's kind of like, you're connecting to them not only as a performer, but as a person. They want to feel like I don't know. They feel
Yeah.
like they know you because they see you in this informal setting. And same with live
Yeah.
streaming. They see you performing from home.
Mhm.
So beyond the music too, they also want to see, that you see them. They want to see your
Yeah.
comments. They want to see you watching on the
Oh.
street. They want you to like recognize when they give you a tip, you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess like connecting to them as a person as well.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Whereas opposed to a
Yeah.
stage where the stage is where the audience is all, dark. You can't see anything on the stage because you're
Uh-huh.
blinded by the lights and you're on this like pedestal basically. So
Right.
I guess those are some similarities.
No, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense, and that's really interesting to think about because, right, when you're in a club, the lights are off, there's a spotlight on you. You might not even actually see anybody else in there. You might just like kind of hear their applause or their, shuffles around or whatever. And or maybe you kind of see the first few rows or depending on like the kind of music you do. But it is you're literally above them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Totally.
like you're literally on a different level
Yeah.
than the audience, whereas on the street you are literally and figuratively on the same level.
Yeah.
And it's similar to that when you're kind of, I can see that live streaming because when you're in a club at a ticketed performance, it is understood that you don't really heckle like the
Yeah.
performer, like by yelling anything out is pretty much not really that encouraged for singer-songwriter shows necessarily. I mean, if you're at a rock show, you scream whatever you want, I suppose, and yell other than like yelling out song requests or I love you, Claire, or something like that. Like, yelling at a concert, at least like a singer-songwriter show, is not really that encouraged. Whereas like a chat box on a live stream,
Yeah.
it's like they're constantly engaging with you, maybe not yelling necessarily, but like they're constantly talking to you and they kind of want to be acknowledged, and it's almost encouraged when you're on the live platform, live streaming, to like acknowledge that. It's like, this isn't a video, this is actually a live stream and I just saw your comment and you acknowledge the comment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I guess it's that kind of
Mm.
acknowledgement, like, yeah, when you're street performing, give them a glance, make sure they see that
Mm.
you see them, or they threw in a
Right.
tip, give them a smile or say thank you,
Mm-hmm.
just so that they know that you appreciate their presence.
Yeah.
And
Cool. So yeah, let's talk live stream more because I'm very intrigued by this. Obviously, with the live music shut down around the world, and some of the touring experts, I guess the members of the industry that are on the highest levels, booking and promoting kind of some of the biggest shows in the world, like arena tours and that kind of stuff. They're estimating that live music may not come back till 2022
wow.
now. Now that's on the biggest level. And obviously there are already shows that are happening on small levels, backyard. I've played a backyard concert. I've played a drive-in concert. There's already like some kinds of safe kinds of concerts, but regardless, touring as we knew it and live performing as we knew it has pretty much halted for the time being. And so a lot of people have turned to live streaming. A lot of people are trying to figure out, how to effectively live stream. Now, you've been doing it for 5 years, and now you're making your living live streaming, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
So it can be lucrative too. That's like what's so interesting to me also because Facebook and doesn't really have an in-app monetization tipping mechanism, I guess. But what are the live streaming platforms you use now? Because you live stream on a bunch right now. You said Periscope.
Yeah. I live stream on Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, and sometimes Instagram too. Yeah. So,
Wow. Okay. Why do you use all the platforms? Why not just pick one?
um, well, ever since like quarantine happened, I thought this is like a good opportunity to explore all of them.
Okay.
And with I kept hearing about Twitch too because it's
Right.
like the other one that's like Periscope. It's just exclusively live streams. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yes.
And so I thought I like
People are there for one reason.
they're
It's
one there
like
for
when
one
you go on
reason. Yeah,
Facebook, you're there for whatever. You go on Instagram, it's like,
exactly,
oh, what's gonna hit me? But like you go to Twitch, you go to Periscope, you know what you're there for.
exactly. And people are
Yeah.
looking for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I definitely wanted to get on that one. Facebook, I thought, also I can I can multi-stream. Now that I'm an affiliate on Twitch, I can't multi-stream with Twitch, but I can multi-stream with Periscope, Facebook, YouTube. I can do them all at the same time if I
What do you mean
want.
multi-stream? You mean like the same, like you're streaming live, but instead of hitting go live on Facebook and it's just on Facebook, you are able to live stream to multiple platforms all at once?
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you do that?
I do it through this service called Restream.
Okay.
So yeah, and so it's pretty cool. So I thought, well, since I'm already doing, Periscope, I might as well also do Facebook, at the same time, or do YouTube at the same time, and try to grow those platforms as well. Also encourage, since I have, the most, my biggest social media is Periscope, to also try to encourage those folks to also be on Facebook and YouTube and on Twitch too. So I figure when I'm like live streaming them both at the same time, I always try to encourage them, like, hop over to, Facebook to give it a like and a share too, guys, So yeah.
So it's not just like building up your audience on one platform, because that platform may die. And now you're kind of building up your audience across the board.
Yeah. And I mean, there's, especially from playing gigs and street performing and touring and stuff, I have a lot of people on Facebook that aren't on my Periscope, or aren't on my YouTube, so, and I have some people that subscribe to my YouTube that aren't any other places, so yeah, just trying to like tap into all the fans I've made in various ways, and so when I go live on all the different platforms, it kind of allows that. Yeah.
Tell me about the monetization possibilities on all the platforms. Like, I know when Periscope started, there was no in-app tipping, but there is now, right?
Yeah, there is now. There's super hearts and stars, basically.
What does that mean?
So it's just kind of like a button when people are watching, people watching your live stream, they can buy these super hearts from the app store. And then they just like tap it and, it will send you tip, basically. So
nice.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool because, I mean, PayPal and Venmo are obviously great too, because you can get them like right away. But the cool thing about like these in-app tipping options is that, it's kind of you immediately see, and you can say thank you like right away, like everybody sees too.
It like shows up on the screen.
Yeah, it shows up on the screen, like everybody sees, so they can kind of be like, look, I gave to Claire, you know what I mean? Which is kind of cool. It's like when you're street performing and someone tips you in front of other people, they can feel good about themselves and everybody can see it, So like, that's the cool thing about the in-app tipping things. Twitch also has bits and subs, and they're basically,
bits is what are those?
Bits is also like bits is also a tipping, in-app tipping thing.
Oh, okay. So like Periscope, you said they call it super hearts. Twitch calls it bits.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
subs. What does
subs
that mean?
are subscriptions to your channel. So basically, they can watch your channel without having to watch an ad, and then they also get access to like special emotes and stuff that they can use.
Do they pay for subs? Is that
like a paid so you pay a monthly thing for a sub. You pay
like a subscription. They're basically like subscribing to
and they can also
channel.
gift subscriptions to other people too, which is a big thing on Twitch. So which is kind of cool because they're it's kind of a way for them to be like, look, I'm giving to Claire and I'm also giving to the community, so it kind of helps that like community.
Oh, so that's really cool because on YouTube you subscribe to somebody, it's free, and it's like, maybe they'll pop up, but like if you want to subscribe to somebody on Twitch, you're like making a financial investment into that person.
You can follow someone for free there, but you can't sub.
Got it. How much is a subscription on Twitch?
A subscription, the first level is $4.99. Okay. And then $4.99 a month.
Got it.
And then the
there's like
performer,
right?
Yeah, there's 3 different tiers. The performer gets half of it. The second tier, I believe, is $9.99, and the second one is $24. Third one is $24.99, I think.
Okay. So, and so it's split 50-50 with Twitch.
Yeah.
So if like I subscribe to you at the first tier, the $4.99 level, $5, basically you get $2.50. Twitch gets $2.50.
Yeah.
And is that the same for bits and stuff like that on Twitch?
Yeah, it's half. Yeah. 50.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. And then, all right. So there's like in-app mechanisms on Twitch and Periscope.
Periscope, I think the performer gets 66%, I think, of the tip.
Oh,
they're all different.
So
I think YouTube is 50% too, I believe. Yeah.
I think if if YouTube is the same as it is for what they pay for ads, it's 55% to the creator and 45% to YouTube. I believe.
Okay.
I don't know about the live streaming
Yeah.
thing yet, but if it's the same as it is for, that's how they split the ad revenue amongst their partners and stuff like that. So, is there in-app tipping on YouTube?
There is if you're monetized. So yeah, if as long as you have to get 1,000 followers, but also or so 1,000 subscribers,
And
but
4,000
also
watch hours, I believe, in like
4,000
the
watch
last.
hours in the last
Yeah.
year, in the last 3
Right. Okay, so it's the same as if you want to run ads on your videos.
Yes.
If you want to actually accept tips on your live stream, and do they call it anything fun like super hearts or bits?
Super stickers and super chat. Yeah.
And super what?
And super chats. Super stickers
chats.
and super chats. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then, but Facebook, I know they were like talking about rolling out some like
they do have
coins.
Stars. Yeah,
stars,
they do have
that's
stars,
right.
and yeah, yeah, they have those.
But
as well.
Do you use that? I don't know. I haven't seen anybody use that, to be honest.
Yeah, I have not used that yet.
Okay.
I was kind of torn as to what. Yeah, I haven't used it yet. It's also they had it exclusively for gamers for a little bit, but now I see other people like now you can apply to do it. With Facebook, because of the clickable links, I've just been using like PayPal and Venmo and my online tip jar, my virtual tip jar.
Yep.
Because that's also like immediate, and that's you get a pretty high. I mean, obviously, you get the PayPal and Venmo percentage, which is, I mean, Venmo you get everything. So.
Right. Whereas like Twitch, you get 50%. Venmo, you get 100%. PayPal, you get like 97% after transaction fees or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I push that. I've been pushing that as the PayPal.
Do people actually do that on Facebook?
Yeah, I do. And I always I try to, keep my alerts open so I can see and say thank you right away.
So you can publicly acknowledge them, even though it doesn't pop up on the screen like Twitch or Periscope. Got it.
Yeah.
So that's always been interesting to me because I, obviously like when the quarantine started and live music shut down, everybody was going live and people were like pinning their PayPal or Venmo in the comments being like, hey, tip me here. But it works, right? You're saying you actually get tips through that.
It's good. I mean, some with live streaming, you got to realize like some live streams are going to be not very lucrative and like some will be amazing. You know what I mean? You just kind of got to power through the slower ones, I guess. But yeah, I definitely get tips on Facebook through like PayPal and Venmo. Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's a good point you make.
And they vary some people will send you $1, some people will send you $100, like it can vary a lot, and
you've gotten $100 tips.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, cool. It's right. That was the thing I remembered from performing on the street. Sometimes I do a 2-hour performance and make $30, and sometimes I do a 2-hour performance and make $300. And it's just like, damn. Exactly. So it's similar on live streaming.
Yeah. I mean, like just a couple people can make a big difference, I mean, I have like, a lot of supporters that, will throw in like, $1 or $2 or whatever, I guess, in super hearts or chat or whatever. But then I also do have supporters that, on a regular basis, they support me at, much greater level, and
I would imagine,
but some also, but, throw, tips at PayPal and Venmo and stuff like that. And
cool. And I would imagine as people tip and it becomes publicly, like you either see it pop up on the screen or you acknowledge it, I would imagine that encourages more people to tip, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I guess when you have some like really big streams where you're making a lot in tips and it's just like a snowball effect, right?
Yeah, totally. It's a snowball effect. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So of all the platforms that you live stream on, what would you say, where do you make the most money, if you know what that is? Or two, where do you think you've built up the biggest engagement? Or maybe also, where do people respond to you the best?
Well, Periscope has definitely been my like biggest one because I've been on there the longest. I have the most followers on there than compared to the other ones I'm on. And yeah. So, I mean, in terms of like, on a consistent basis, like engagement and tips and all that stuff, Periscope, Twitch has
Okay.
been really great lately. I mean, I
Mm.
only really started doing Twitch like full time in maybe late June. I mean, I was doing it kind of
Okay.
occasionally,
Sure.
but then once I got all the nice gear and stuff like that, um, yeah, Twitch, you kind of have to have more of the technical, nice gear and, OBS and everything. But once I
Right.
got all that squared away, I started doing it on a regular basis. Um, and it's been really awesome. A lot of my supporters on there are from Periscope. You know what I mean? Like they
Okay.
heard,
Sure.
but they're also really loving it, and like so it's been pretty darn good the past couple months. Yeah, a
Cool.
lot of them are a lot of the support has been from people who've supported me for years, who
Hmm.
first met me on Periscope. But they're having fun with like all the gifting subs and like the
Cool.
bits and all these like flashy things that pop up on the screen, that kind of make it fun. And it's just like a new, it's like a new thing. They've been watching me for years,
It's
and
like
now it's
you're
like,
it's like you're the main character in a video game on Twitch. I kind of
yeah,
feel
it
like
is totally. You
sometimes.
feel like you're a video game, and it's like when in Twitch too, when you get like a big raid from like other people bringing their people over, then
Okay.
it's really awesome. My supporters like try to show like, hey, we're a cool community, and then they'll gift a bunch of subs to the new people. You know what I mean?
Oh, sweet. Oh, so
And
it is like a real community.
yeah, yeah. I mean, both. That's what I love about both Periscope and Twitch. They both have like they're really community feeling. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like that's why I don't know. I think that's why people are, want to watch them all the time, like, or
Hmm.
want to stream on them all the time. And, viewers want to watch them all the time is because they have their friends there and they want to say hi, and like they want to, it's just like a human connection, especially in these times where we're totally disconnected, I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, and of course they, hopefully they appreciate the music too, but yeah, definitely the community
Right.
feeling.
That's so interesting because we are craving that human connection
Yeah.
now more than ever.
Yeah.
But ever since we've kind of moved into living online, and that takes up more of our time and energies, we're still human beings and we still crave human connection. It looks different now than it ever has. Whereas, human connection in the past might be we all, you go out to the bar and you hang out in the bar with your friends, or you go out to a show and you're hanging out there. And that obviously still exists. But there are still ways that we can connect with other people. And this is just like a way that people have found to kind of hang out with their community virtually. Do you find that like when people show up to your streams, they're interacting with each other as well, or is it just with you?
Yeah. They're definitely interacting with each other as well, for sure. Yeah.
How
Um,
does that look, or what does that look
yeah.
like?
Well, um, yeah, I mean, the cool what on Periscope, the one of the things that some of the people that like about Periscope is that they can see the like bubbles of all the people they follow are in the chat. They're at the bottom of the screen.
Oh,
So they can
fun.
see
Cool.
who's in there right away and say, hey, hey,
Sweet.
and they just like click in the bubble and say, hey, how's it going? And they talk about whatever. They talk about stuff with happening with their family, with the weather, whatever, or the song, the crap. They have inside jokes, they all have like inside jokes and like
Oh,
they
wow.
tease each other and stuff. And so, yeah. And I mean, Twitch is the same way. I guess you can see who's in there if you like click on this part, you can kind of look through the whole list, but you can't necessarily see
Sure.
just who you're following, but you have to kind of look around. But once people start chatting, obviously they can see who's in there, so they
Yep.
can just like, yeah, have their little conversations and
Mm.
they have their, yeah, on Periscope, they have their like super, super heart like challenges, try to beat each other. And on Twitch, they have the sub, like who can out sub people, and
Huh.
yeah. And
So it
like,
is like it's gamified,
it's
basically,
totally
in
game.
in
Yeah,
in a
it's
sense. In a
it's fun.
sense.
Yeah, it's like a
Cool.
musical games for grown-ups.
Musical games for grown-ups. I love it. Um, Nice. So I would imagine since now you're doing it so consistently, how often are you live streaming these days?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've been live streaming a lot because now I'm yeah, I mean, I'd say about 6 days a week. Because I've really wanted to since I started doing Twitch as well, and then since
Hmm.
I became an affiliate, I can't do it at the same time as the other platforms, so I'm like, I'll do the stream on.
Is that technological, or is that they don't allow you to do that?
They
Like
don't
that's
allow
the
you to do it once
rules.
you're earning money on
Okay.
Twitch. You can't be live on another platform at the same time. But
Uh,
until then, you can. But just
got
once you
it.
start earning money, you can't.
Okay.
Once you can start getting bits and stuff. So yeah,
Sure.
I'll do like a Periscope and maybe a Facebook at the same time, and for, I don't know, an hour and a half or so. And then I'll be like, okay, after party on Twitch, let's go over there,
Oh
and
wow, fun. Okay.
then I'll do like another, at Twitch, I sometimes I say, okay, we'll do an hour, but then if we get a raid or something, and it's like
Mm.
always like that last song, we get a raid or like, or something cool happens. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll go. And then I'm like, okay, this is the last song. And then we get another, like last night, it was like, we just kept getting little raids. I'm like, okay, now it's been 3 hours. So yeah.
In one stream? 3
Yeah.
hours? Oh,
Oh my God.
wow.
Yeah.
How
And
long are your streams typically?
Well, back when I was street performing, I would do 3 hour streams a lot because I'd street perform for 3 hours, Then
Oh,
with the home
wow.
quarantining stuff, like usually an hour to 2 hours.
Okay.
But yeah, and then since I've been like new to Twitch, I just been kind of, having fun, like doing new stuff and just kind of like, yeah, I leave it up to the fate of raids and how many viewers we get. And then I just decide to keep going or to close it down.
Wow.
But yeah, they really differ. Usually my stream is going to be anywhere from, well, sometimes I'll just do a quick half an hour one on Periscope or something. Well, but usually they're anywhere from an hour to 3.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you must, well, I should ask, do you enjoy this?
Yeah, I do enjoy it. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely days where I force myself to do it. I'm like, and especially that's the thing. Like, I think with any job, well, the thing is that it's fun job. So, but kind of like any job, and in the beginning, sometimes I'll be like, I'm so tired. I really don't have the energy. I don't feel like I don't want to be on camera right now. I don't feel, whatever. But then I force myself to do it, and then it usually, it usually like kind of the adrenaline, I don't know, the fun of it starts kicking in and stuff.
You start to get the interaction.
Yeah,
and
the interaction,
reactions
like
from
that.
people.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. I mean, overall, it's a pretty fun job. But like any job, sometimes you're not going to have the energy, and you have to show up.
Totally. I mean, even at I watched that Katy Perry documentary, and even at her level, when she was touring arenas and stadiums, there were days where she's literally bawling her eyes out before she has to go on stage, and she's like, I can't do it. And then you see her being lifted up through the trap door, with a huge plastered grin on her face, starting the show. It's like, oh my God. Even at literally at any level for any job, and that's her job. You got to perform, and whether you're going to be, performing in front of a camera for 30 people in a live stream or in front of 30,000 people in a stadium, or whether you're, at a coffee shop and you got to show up to work there for that kind of a thing. I guess it's just this is our job, and this is what we do. And I like that. So you've made this a regular routine for you. You do this, you said, how many days? 5-6 days a week?
Yeah. Yeah, about 5-6 days a week. I mean, if people don't want, people want to get in live streaming, you don't have to do this that many hours. I'm just trying to multi-stream in all these different places. And it's just kind of been since quarantine, I just decided to kind of experiment and, try all this out, but yeah.
So let's talk about that, because there's a lot of people listening right now who maybe have thought about live streaming. Maybe they've tried live streaming on Facebook or Instagram, and man, nobody tuned in. And what is your advice for people who want to get started live streaming and want to maybe try to make their living doing that?
Well, I guess, my advice would be, to just do it, to maybe make a commitment to yourself. If you really want to get into it, say, okay, and make a commitment that's reasonable. Don't overdo it. If you're just starting and you're not sure if you like it, don't say you don't have to do it 5 days a week. You could do it if you could say at least 3 days a week. Okay. And then test it out and see if you like it, and then up it, whatever. And commit yourself to doing an hour in each of those, but then feel it out. If an hour in, if it's going really well, don't just shut it down, keep it going. I mean, if an hour in, if you're feeling really discouraged, then, shut it down. Maybe say, I'll try again tomorrow, and so I'd say, yeah, definitely. You have to kind of make a commitment to yourself. It is like showing up for work in a way. And sometimes it's going to be really fun, and sometimes it's really not going to be fun. But you just have to, and also just try to keep things with the fun. The cool thing about live streaming is unlike putting a video out on YouTube, where you kind of, for me, someone like me, I overthink all my other social media posts, like Instagram,
Right.
like, what is okay, like I literally think about it, like for 2 hours, like, what is the caption? Oh, I don't know about this photo, but with the cool thing I think about live streaming is you can just kind of click, okay, I'm going live,
Mm.
just gonna do this, and I can't overthink it. It's live, and
Hmm.
that's like the
Hmm.
beauty of it. Um, and and now, especially now that we're in quarantine, it's kind of, without many live shows happening, it's really the closest thing you're going to get to a live show with an
Mm.
interaction.
Sure.
And so yeah, try to enjoy it, and try to also like definitely notice your audience, and
Mm.
if they appreciate it, be grateful for that, obviously,
Hmm.
and just remember that there's, even if there's 5 people, if there 5 people are appreciating it, and you're making a difference in their day, that's awesome.
Mm.
Like, it's all about quality and not quantity. It should be about,
Mm.
and if, connect with, try to connect with them, answer their questions, and just
Hmm.
remember you're making like human interactions as well as performing. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
just stick with it really is the biggest thing, yeah, you make a commitment. At least I'd say at least 3 days a week. If you really want to do it, I'd say 5 days a week. If you
Mm.
if you really are like gung ho about it, and try out all the different platforms, because you might get discouraged on Instagram, you might get discouraged on Facebook, but definitely try out like Periscope or Twitch, where there's special platforms specifically designed for live streaming,
Mm.
specifically designed for people looking for live streams too. Your audience, is looking for
Yep.
audience there is looking for a live stream to watch. So
Mm.
if you get discouraged with Facebook or Instagram, definitely try these like specialized platforms, I'd say.
Sure.
Um, yeah. And
Cool.
it would take a while. It might take a little bit to build up an audience, but just
Hmm.
remember to like have patience and just stick to it. And usually there's kind of a tipping point, where something will happen and someone will share it out, or, someone will see your live stream or whatever and tell their friends about it, and then it will, grow. But
Hmm.
it might take a little bit of time, just so just be patient.
How
And yeah.
long did it take? So you're saying that your first Periscope ever, you didn't
Oh
have
yeah.
thousands of people in there?
Yeah, my first Periscope, I mean, I think it was like maybe 5 viewers at a time, like,
Okay.
um, and it took me a few months to get to 1,000 followers, and
A few months
yeah,
to
I
get to a
did. A
thousand
few months,
followers.
yeah, it took a few months, like, it took
So
yeah,
that puts it in perspective because I
yeah,
think and I love how you said it's about the human connection, and like even if there are 5 people there, just 5 people, that's real human beings. There's actually 5 humans who are
yeah,
looking at you right now.
exactly.
And like, I think right, it's quality over quantity. And
And
that
one of those 5 might tip you $100. You know what I
uh,
mean? Like, you don't
yeah,
necessarily have to have a lot of fans. Like, if
sure.
you have just a few dedicated fans,
Mm,
you can make a decent income from it, if you're really connecting with them and they appreciate your music and they appreciate
yes.
your connection.
That's such a good point because uh that's the difference is like we're so obsessed with these vanity metrics and these
Yeah.
metrics of how many Instagram followers do you have? How many people, how many YouTube views are you getting? Whatever. None of that actually matters in the real world when you really break it down to like what do we need to survive in the real world? You
Yeah.
don't need YouTube followers to survive, YouTube subscribers
It's
or
not gonna pay
Instagram
the bills.
followers.
I have
Right. They're not, yeah. Your
I have
Instagram followers are not
100,000 subscribers. Come on. He doesn't buy me a coffee or
right.
something.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'd love to show up to
I forgot
Starbucks and be
my
like, hey,
wallet, but
I just reached 10,000 followers on Instagram.
come
Is
on,
this free?
man.
Like, all
Yeah.
right, that's still $3.75. All right. Like, what does it do? There's no real currency with that.
Yeah.
But like, you make a really good point. It's just like, it's about that real connection. And these fans, it's like, it's the 1,000 true fans concept of, a true fan. And I've broken this down a little bit differently in the book. And this is a concept that multiple people have talked about. But like, if you can get 1,000 people to pay you $100 a year, that's $100,000. And now you're making a very solid, significant living. And when you think about, okay, 1,000 people, that's doable if you really can think about all of that at becoming super fans. And it starts with like that one person that gives you $100. It's like, man, there's my one of 1,000 this year. But I'm sure, people might give $200-$300 and people might give $50. And so it's not necessarily, hard and fast. You need 1,000 true fans. But like when thinking about it, that you're interacting with actual human beings, people that might support you for life. Now, you've said that you have some people that have been following you and supporting you for years, right?
Yeah. 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 Definitely. I mean, through Periscope, yeah, like some of my, biggest tippers and supporters have been following me for, almost 5 years, I'd say. A lot of them found me end of 2015, beginning of 2016,
Yep.
So
And they
yeah.
will be with you for life. I mean, these
Yeah.
are your lifers. And that is really when you're thinking about it, like, what are we trying to do in music? We're not trying to we shouldn't be trying to get more followers or likes or subscribers on the latest social media platform. We should be trying to build a career, a sustainable career. And how we're going to do that is by getting fans. And I always say the difference between a follower and a fan is a follower wants to be entertained for free and a fan supports you financially. And so it's like building that base up of real fans, not just these empty follower numbers just to like impress somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Claire, this has been awesome. I've learned a lot, and man, it's just like you've really put in the time, and you have that those 10,000 hours, and there's just so much. It's like such a new frontier, this live streaming area that we're in right now. But it can be exciting, and actually, I feel like a lot of people, and me being one of those people, could look at live streaming as kind of a chore. And it's like, ugh, do I have to do it? It's like, but I like to see that you actually really enjoy it, and that this is something that like you have taken to, and that it can be fun, and you're building a really nice, sustainable career with real fans. And I love to see that. I have one final question that I ask everybody who comes on the show.
Mhm.
What does it mean to you to make it in the new music business?
To make it in the new music business, to me, just means being able to make a decent living and being able to go out there, perform my music, reach as many people as possible, keep putting out albums, and just keep creating and keep performing, I guess, and for the rest of my life.
Yeah, love it.
That's what it means.
Awesome. Clare Means, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was really, really great.
Thank you so much.